Hi guys, in this video we're actually going to discuss how we plot out our zones at Athena and what we look for in regard in our zones and why we use it this way, right? So firstly, what we're looking for is a thing we call turning points in the market. And what we mean by that is when prices move in a certain direction, we then get wicks that touch an area and move away quite sharply. Now, an example of this would be this lower level here. Now, the reason we do this is because what we find is the clear turning points price always returns to and then allows us to actually get in trades because this price is important. Now, this would be a level for us here, a zone for us here. Why? We always use the wicks, we never use the candles in regards to the turning point areas that we use, simply because this means that when price has been moving down here, it's wicked here, and when it's wicked, it's rejected it and then pushed away. This makes it quite significant. Now, as you can see, after it's pushed away, it has come back to retest this zone and then continued its upward momentum. Now, this is just how we use zones. We will show you how to actually enter these trades or what to look for when entering a trade to enter these zones. Now, another zone that we would look for, we always look for nice, clear turning points because price always returns to them. This area here, why are we choosing this area here? Multiple wicks in this area. This zone here has been touched multiple times by price and rejected before a massive drop. Now, as you can see, in regards to this, it has came back and tested it before a drop. And in relation to this lower zone that we have here, when it touched this lower zone, it then gave us targets in place for possible buy entries when we were in here. This is what using zones like this does. It doesn't confuse like some other people do and have zones like this because that's a fucking mess. So what we're actually looking for is nice crystal clear zones. Now, where price is currently floating at the moment, we have a zone, and I'll tell you why. Because here, what price wicked quite significantly, pushed away. Now, we're looking at this now as a possible break and retest zone. Why? Price has broken through, pushed down, now on the push back up, and it's became rather important in regards to where the market's going to go. The reason we do this is what we find is when it's crystal clear and obvious where price has moved, it then becomes easier to decide where our target profits are and where our entry is going to be. Now, this is exactly how we set out our zones. If we move further back, we can actually see multiple areas where we set out zones. This area here, for example, price touched here, moved away relatively sharply. Now, if we pull that across, again, shows how important it is. It's came back twice to hit these zones, showing that it's a very important price and eventually decided to move against it. Again, in regards to small area here, price touched here and moved away. Now what you'll find is it did come back to retest this zone, and as you can see, it also ties in with the previous zone that we spoke of before. This is where you can tell what prices are really important and why. Why are they significant? People always ask us this. It's because when this has been touched, it's had a massive rally. Every single one of these, when they've been touched, they've rallied away or dropped away quite significantly. Touched here, massive push. Touched here, massive drop. Touched here, massive push. Touched here, massive drop. This makes picking your levels and your target areas relatively easy, simply because they're very obvious and there's not too many. Now, another example would be here. Nice small zone there. As you can see, we always use the wick. I never use the body in regards to turning points. We will show you other zones to use in regards to this, but this is how we actually set out our zones. Now, I'll do this on another pair. If we now look at pound USD on the daily from here, plotting out our zones, relatively easy on this pair. Now, as we can see here, price touched this area, moved away quite significantly. So that's a nice clear turning point. Here, as you can see, price touched, moved away quite significantly, and then come back to retest before pushing upwards again. Now, what else do we look for in regards to this? As you can see here, we have a zone here. Price touched here, moved away really, really sharply. Again, it shows the wicks and shows that it's an important price. When eventually it's broken through, it provided a break and retest. And then where do we look for our targets? Clear turning points. Another clear turning point is this area here. Now, as you can see here, it makes your trading crystal clear. Now, we don't obviously trade on the daily, we look for our lower time frame trades, but this gives us an idea of overall where price is going to go and what to use. Now that's how we use turning points. Another turning point that you'd have used here in pound USD would be clear turning point here, as you can see. And the reason these are important, and I'll show you just now why, when price touched here and moved away, eventually it did break through and it came back to retest and you had this sort of like FTR here. But what it did allow is on the 4 hour, this was our zone here. What it then allowed you to do was look for the turning point within the zone on the 4 hour. Now we had our daily zone on the 4 hour, it gave us a smaller zone inside that, and what actually happened was you came back and you got a break and retest with a morning star pattern. Now if you'd managed to enter this and continue up to your higher level here or your daily level, quite significant risk reward and a lot of pips gained. That's how we are actually planning out our levels here at Athena and how we're planning out turning points. Now, we will move on now to what we use as FTR zones for our turning points, and what we mean by those is a single or two candles that have had a slight pullback, but then price has continued its momentum either upwards or downwards. Now, for example of this, on the daily, an example of an FTR zone here would be this level here. Now, price has been pushing up quite significantly, small little pullback and then a push up again. Now, with this, we just put it round the candle and pull it across. This then allows you to dictate where price is sort of moving to. As you can see, it becomes quite important and actually comes back to retest here. As you can see, sort of just nearly gets to the price level there and sort of rejects, but this is what we're looking for as our zones. Also, as a clear FTR would be this area here that we have in. Eventually, if we start to get some downwards momentum on this, we may get a pullback to these areas, but this is also a significant area to use when looking at these. Now, going to a fresh chart here, remove all drawing tools. So if we look at it now, when we're looking for our zones here on this pair, we are looking for crystal clear turning points. At the moment, we have a crystal clear turning point here, as you can see, and it's becoming quite significant because it's failing to push above that at the moment. We also then have to look for clear turning points everywhere else. Clear turning point here, it came back to retest. Now this then allows you to actually plan out your trades on your lower time frame, and you can actually see where's crystal clear and where you believe price is going to move to. In regards to our FTRs as well, if we look here on the momentum down, we have a small pullback, one pullback candle, but then we have a large drop in favour of the continued momentum for the sell. Now, if we put our zone in there, we can actually see when we're looking at possible trades in these zones, we can then look at targets in this area. If we look here, clear turning points here also, again, when it broke through, it came back to retest. This is what we're looking for when we're planning out zones. We have no interest in having zones that do stuff like this and come across. We find that's a waste of time. But that's basically how we're planning out our zones. Now, what you find on the daily is they naturally come back in and sort of tie in with your 4 hours. As you can see, on our 4 hour on pound Japanese, came back for an actual break and retest trade. As you're coming up now, proven to be quite significant, this area here, failing to break above, touching it quite a lot. That's how we're looking for our zones. You can see here, we can see why we've picked out our zones everywhere else as well. As you can see, zones that are already laid out. The only other zone that I would pick here in this time frame would be this here. But other than that, guys, I hope this short video helps in regards to looking for zones. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us via Instagram or in our email below.